Thank you very much for joining us today. We're going to be talking about the brand new direct integration with Signagelive and Screenfeed. This is slightly different to some of the things you've seen. You may have seen us working with Screenfeed in the past. This is far more unique and purpose-built for your content and how to deliver everything you need from Screenfeed into Signagelive in the most seamless way possible. Today, we're going to be taking over a little bit of an overview of the platform as a whole, and we're also going to be showing you some of the use cases and examples of other people in real life using these two tools together to generate incredible digital signage. So thank you very much for joining us. So my name is Tim. I'm the marketing manager here at Signagelive. I'm going to hand straight off to Lorna for a quick introduction.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. We're very excited to be here. My name is Lorna Campbell. I'm the Business Development Director here at Screenfeed.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Joe. I'm the Product Content Specialist here at Signagelive. And today I'm going to give you a live demo of the Screenfeed and the Signagelive integration. So you're going to see it in action.
Hi, I'm Hunter Senchins. I'm the Technical Support Director at Screenfeed. Today I'll be showing you about Connect and making custom apps and how that works and fits into Signagelive.
I'll start off with a bit of an introduction of Signagelive if you're not familiar. So we are a cloud-based CMS or content management system. We've been around since 2007, but we've actually been established nearly over 25 years now as a company. Our major focus is about delivering content to screens at scale. Our main three core pillars are about security, so being able to make sure that your content is being delivered in a way that is scalable but also secure. It's about support, so our in-house support team are 24, 5 hours a day, where you can come and speak to us directly with any support questions or queries that you have within the Signagelive platform. And it's also about scalability, being able to create these networks of hundreds or thousands of devices and players managing your screens and content, whilst also delivering a range of different content types, such as Screenfeed, so we can deliver that all in a unified way, in a more manageable way, especially if you're looking at multiple users, multiple network levels, granularity, and all of those permission sets that go under that. And Lorna, if you want to do a quick overview of Screenfeed.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just a little bit about Screenfeed. We've been in the industry since 2008 in the digital signage industry, providing a wide range of content solutions ranging from licensed infotainment to custom and dynamic data solutions. So we are a great partner for different groups in the industry like CMSs, and we also serve end customers and a variety of industries and networks. So digital signage content has been the name of our game since about 15 or 16 years ago. Just as a little bit of an overview here, we'll start with the new content interface. Like we've been mentioning in the beginning of this webinar, our platforms are integrated. So the new content interface was actually developed for this partnership, and it provides an easier way to browse content, browse all the feeds. We have a rich product library that is now available directly in Signagelive. And you can browse the feeds that are available or that you've purchased and customize them. So you can see in this little preview that's on the right there of the customization and configuration options. These can all take place within Signagelive. So you don't have to bounce between two platforms. Any sort of feed customization, publishing, management, updating of feeds, this can all happen within one platform, which is really exciting. And we've optimized the way that this happens with this new view. We're very excited to bring that into the Signagelive platform with this integration. Single platform billing is pretty self-explanatory, but going to be really, really efficient for users and partners and integrators and anyone that's selling or just using content within their own network. This is the Screenfeed billing platform. You can see that it's no longer necessary to visit this page or to visit Screenfeed's account at all. You can do all of your content management and subscription management and renew all at one time within one platform. So this is going to be just a little bit less management that people have to worry about. The main thing that I want to talk about today and that we'll be covering today are these exclusive bundles and pricing from Screenfeed that are available with Signagelive. So not only is there going to be exclusive pricing, please reach out to Signagelive, your sales rep or the sales contact to learn more about what that pricing looks like. But the Everything bundle and the Essentials bundle are actually exclusively developed for Signagelive. So whether you're just getting started, whether you have a massive network, all of these bundles are going to offer you exactly what you need. The Everything bundle, the Essentials bundle, and the Social bundle are all pre-made, pre-designed feeds that are going to be set up in just a couple of minutes. And then our Connect platform that offers data-driven custom feeds. Hunter will get into this demo a little bit. That allows you to create custom HTML content that integrates your own data into either designs that you create from scratch or from templated designs. So with all of these feeds, it includes Reuters news, weather, financial, sports scores, entertainment options, traffic maps for your area. Most of these feeds can be localized. So you can localize based on your player parameters parameters or based on a location that you choose when you're setting up the feed. A lot of these feeds are going to return global content. So depending on which area of the world you're in, these feeds will have something for you. So weather, rate, financial information, sports information, news stories, you can localize all of those with different language options available as well. And then they're all going to be updating multiple times throughout the day. So what you get when you use any of the ScreenFeed content options that you offer are going to be really fresh and relevant messages that are either going to supplement the messages that you're showing on your own network really well, or they are great as a standalone option as well if you just want to bring some additional network value to your displays. And I'll hand it back over to Tim to talk about some shared customer success stories.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I was good timing because I was actually fortunate enough to go down to the Marlow Theatre last week to go and see their digital signage content in action. And I think what was really impressive about their configuration is they'd really thought through the process of what they were going to be doing with their digital signage. So right from the entrance for their patrons or those kind of enjoying the finer arts would come in and see the ScreenFeed content. First thing that they see, that shows all of the site information, all of the performances and the shows that are coming up. And all of that is being pulled from their own data sources that they use externally, which they're already using for things like updating the website. They're already utilizing that data somewhere else. And they're just pulling that into their digital signage via ScreenFeed and into Signage Live to make this very unified experience without any additional legwork for them. Their day-to-day isn't affected. The content updates itself automatically from the work that they're already doing. What was really nice about their particular infrastructure is they have 35 screens around their entire location. And it was really thoughtfully put together. It was, when a customer comes in, what information is going to be most important to them? When they get to this section, let's promote some of the latest shows. When we're going into more of an experiential area, we've got a big video wall to really kind of entice people and make them feel the value and the presence of their own branding, which is something that Jasmine actually went into a lot of detail in when I was doing the case study. And then on top of that, they even had, some really basic digital signage. So when you're going into the theater, if you had, warnings of epilepsy or, no camera equipment or things that were really, really important to be able to give that information, they've really thought through their entire customer journey. And by integrating ScreenFeed into that, as you can see in these two examples here, those two what's on sheets would basically fill up automatically with that data. One of the most important things from their perspective is they have quite a large team of designers actually creating content regularly because they have so many different shows on and performances, and they all have to stay themed or branded to those performances. Anything that we can do to alleviate the amount of time that they take to create content is a benefit to them. And I know, Lorna, you said that there was some technicality behind the color coding there, correct?
Yeah, yep. So what you guys are seeing on the right-hand side there's two different examples of the content that they're displaying. And the content actually will adjust based on conditions and filters that are set within Connect to show different colors for, you can see on the ticket tags, if it says book now or tickets limited, it'll denote that with those colors and with those labels. And then the layout will also change depending on how many shows they have. Sometimes they'll have one show running for the day. Sometimes they'll have up to 6. So the content will adjust automatically depending on those criteria. And Marlow team doesn't have to touch it. They don't have to come in and create those different layouts manually, update the shows manually, update the ticket availability manually. This is all things that they were having to do beforehand. And to Tim's point, it allows them to serve the most accurate and up-to-date information at the right time for audiences. So there's no confusion. It's really easy to communicate. And they are actually increasing awareness too to the different shows that are displaying with that rotation of shows. So
they recently went through a rebrand, and it was a perfect case for using Connect because we could match their signage and other designs, their printed media, and really make it cohesive for them.
I think that's one thing I did want to kind of stress onto this is I think the benefit now of this ScreenFeed relationship is it's very much dependent on what the end user wants to take up in their own responsibility. So you've got 3 different tiers. Basically, you've got that kind of like already pre-designed social content or whatever it is you want to pull from immediate feeds. You've got Connect, which is build your own design, or you also have the likes of Hunter in the background that can sit in and assist as needed, just depending on what your preferred experience or preferred interaction level is, which I think is always fantastic.
Yeah, perfect. And then one other case study that we wanted to just highlight and provide some inspiration for you guys is Flight Center Travel Group, who had a really delightful use case that they brought to us where they said, hey, we have a new headquarters and we've got employees that are going to be coming in 3 to 4 times a week. And we want to just make them have a great experience here when they're in the office. So the way that they decided to do that, and this is also utilizing the Connect platform, is to take a spreadsheet of over 100 different employees that they have and have that cycle through the employee anniversaries on those current months that those employees were celebrated. So it says, hey, this person has been an employee. Thank you so much for your time here. In addition to that appreciation that's being shown, they also have different commute information. So different arrivals and departures for train time so people can get going on a good basis. And this all updates automatically. The train schedule is updating every 5 or 15 minutes. The employee celebrations are updating every month. This is something that Kathy doesn't have to touch. They've had fantastic feedback on this that said, hey, we really appreciate seeing, the shout outs to our employees. This is grabbing attention to their screens and to the other messages that they're showing, as well as just making the employees feel really good while they're there. So they've had great feedback on this. And then the last thing to mention is that their designs were also customized for that new look and feel of their interior design of their new headquarters. So this was a perfect complement to what they already had planned and had put a lot of effort into designing. So adds a lot of flexibility to what you can do with your digital signage.
100%.
All right, with that, I'll pass it over to Joe for a live demo.
So essentially what we've built here is we've now got this ScreenFeed integration and this entire ScreenFeed experience now existing within the Signage Live platform. Now, a lot like a lot of our other Signage Live apps, we actually can access this via the application switcher in the top left here now. So from the moment you log into your Signage Live network, ScreenFeed is only one button click away. Anytime you've purchased any of these ScreenFeed products or any of the bundles, like Lorna was mentioning, whether you've got the Essentials bundle or the social media bundle or more, any of those bundles will appear within the ScreenFeed app for you, as it's already linked to your Signage Live network at the point of purchase. As this is a content-based solution, we wanted to make sure that this was available from within your content as well. And of course, a lot of our customers, when they're coming into Signage Live, they're heading to their content library and they're building out their playlists. Of course, playlists are our main delivery method of getting content on screens via Signage Live. We want to make sure that we had that available here. So now, if you have this integration active on your Signage Live network as well, you can also access ScreenFeed from the content drop down here. So at the point at which I go to add new content, I'm immediately getting that option to switch to that ScreenFeed user interface. Now, to show you what that looks like, upon clicking that button, I would be met with a user interface that looks like this. It's got all of the apps that we've got available. Of course, in my case, I'm lucky enough to have every bundle enabled here. So if I've only bought the social media bundle, then I'm only going to see the social media stuff here. We've got these nice filters that run along the top here, which allows us to filter between the types of ScreenFeed content that we're configuring. All of this content here is our ScreenFeed content that we've purchased. Upon clicking any of these apps, I can start configuring one of them. So let's go down to Reuters Sports News here. And it's worth noting that we're using apps as the terminology here, but what we're actually syncing over to Signage Live as an asset is the unique feeds that sit within that. So anytime we create a feed here, that's immediately going to sync that over to our Signage Live library. So you can see I've made this brand new feed. So it's called New Reuters Sports News Feed. If I now jump over to Signage Live, filter by my latest content, you can see our Reuters News one has come through now. But essentially, anytime we're hitting that create feed button, we are getting the feed created in Signage Live. And from there, really, it's just a case of us editing this as we see fit. If I go back to apps I'm using now, I can go back into that Reuters Sports one there. And now I've got this feed here, I can go into configure. And from here, I can then go and make those more granular changes. So if I hit customize this feed, I can, of course, filter the types of content that I'm showing here. I can turn logos on and off. I can choose a different style like so, and I can hit save changes. Anytime I'm saving any changes that I make here, it's going to apply those changes to this specific app that we've got here. But essentially, this Reuters News sports feed here is what we're seeing from ScreenFeed. And anytime I want to publish this to a player, I can immediately drag that over to one of my playlists and publish that immediately to the player. The benefit here is that the URL that we are provided here, the ScreenFeed URL, we can access here, and any changes that we're making within that ScreenFeed app are going to immediately be published to this URL. Therefore, meaning if we publish this to our Signage Live players, we get the same functionality. So we can actually publish our content, our ScreenFeed content here to our players, and then make our changes to those feeds directly within the ScreenFeed app. Once I've made any changes here, as soon as I hit save changes, it's going to automatically update any screens that also have that content. So I'm not even having to go through that publication process once that content has been published for the first time. So it's a really great way of speeding up your publication process and just keeping your screens fresh. Another piece of content that's worth talking about here, which I will pass on to Hunter to talk about, is ScreenFeed Connect. That's one of the many apps here. Of course, depending on the bundles and the ScreenFeed apps that you've purchased through Signage Live will depend on whether you have access to this, but the same applies here. If we click on Connect here, we can open Connect directly from within Signage Live. And when we do that, it will look a lot like what Hunter's going to show now. If I pass on to you, Hunter.
Yes, and before we do that, do you mind going back and just showing that content menu for just a moment? I just want to lay that out there that ScreenFeed does provide these ready-made infotainment options, things like news, whether in sports and more, that can be localized. So, based on where you are, your zip code, your latitude and longitude. It's really powerful to keep your screens interesting and fresh. And it takes a lot of additional work potentially off your plate. And so one of the things that we added to this offering is this ability to create content that not only updates automatically, like what you see here, but the ability for you to use your own data, something that's dynamic and customizable to you or your customer. What I'm talking about is our HTML custom app editor. It's called Connect. And so you have this ability to, on your behalf or on your customer's behalf, connect to external data. And it is organized in a no-code drag and drop editor, which allows for a lot of different use cases. These are just our templates. And so just to give you an idea of different things that you can do with those external connections, things like calendars, leaderboards, welcome signs based on maybe a calendar, anniversaries, menu boards, directories. I could keep going. We have over 100 templates that you could choose. And it's because it's HTML, the format is flexible. So it can be in a 16:9, it can be in a 9:16, it can be in a footer space, it could be in a sidebar, and it could fit into Signage Live's layout editor alongside another piece of media. It can be a companion, or it can be the main show. Part of the real advantage to Connect is the ability to build using data and have that data update automatically. And I'm going to find a template here to choose. We have our weekly sales leader. I'm going to create this app from a template, and something that's unique for Connect in our templates is that everything in the template is editable. I could go through and delete every individual element or change different colors and fonts and really configure it to fit my needs however I want. I'm not stuck to necessarily a grid. All of this is changeable and editable. So let's say I'm just going to get rid of that image in the background. The power of Connect is the ability to build your own design, how you want it to look, or your customer ScreenFeed can do it. As you saw in some of the examples, it really has that power to look the way you want it to look while harnessing that automatic data update. So the way it does that is by building with data. So initially, if you go here to data and create a connection, we can connect to things like Google Sheets, Excel workbooks, Microsoft Online, various calendar sources, XML or JSON data, or leverage Zapier where you could make a workflow to connect to things even further than that, like Slack, for example, and pull in that information to be shown visually on your screen and synchronized on a frequency. Or you could connect to a REST API using our REST API connector, which opens things up to menus and so on and so forth. If I click create a connection, I'm going to just choose Google Sheets. And here's my example of a leaderboard. I'll copy this Google Sheet URL and paste it in. If you haven't used this before, it will come up with the authorization. It leverages the authorization of whatever the source is. So in this case, it would be Google, your Google tenant. You'd have to authorize permissions for a ScreenFeed to access that data. Same thing with a Microsoft tenant. Now I can see representation of the data. And in this case, it shows, for example, the data types. Let's go to image. And then this is a text. And we'll hit continue. And then I'll set my synchronization period and continue. Name it what I want so I know that it's there. So we've got our new leaderboard data here. And I'm just going to drag Joe in and start replacing data. So I'll choose replace data set and looks good, continue. And it's going to ask me, how do the things line up? In this case, everything's named the same. I'm cheating a little bit by using more or less the same setup, but if it didn't, you can match up as best you can how that data fits into your data source. And there's Joe top of the leaderboard with his sales for the week. If we wanted to pull this data in fresh, we can, and there's different ways that data is represented. In this case, it's something called a repeater grid, where it takes a singular design and it takes that data record and applies that same design over a grid, which then in turn can be animated over time. So we've got this nice little circle treatment to the image, the various text, and that is repeated over each one of these cells. I can tweak this. So if I wanted to, I could interpolate text. We've got our $ right there. Maybe it's a different amount, and I can add in text and various elements here from the left-hand side. So if I wanted to add in some additional design elements like shapes or a static piece of text that I want repeated over and over and over, I could put that in right there. We also have the ability to upload photos and pull from Pixabay. So I'm just going to change out this logo right here by dragging and dropping in. You can see how easy it is to customize these templates. You can also build an app from scratch if you desire. We have other widgets that work specifically with different data types. For example, you would want to pull in calendar data to show an event or an agenda for the day, a customized room schedule app, for example, you could build right here. Various countdowns and graphs fit specific data types. Beyond that, I could say this count is supposed to fit for a specific goal. I could leverage certain widgets inside that repeater and show the data. So Joe's at, 20,001. Maybe the goal is 40,000. If I pull this progress bar in, I can map data so that it shows individual progress for each one of these cells. Beyond that, Connect has the ability to filter the data. So if I wanted to scale, for example, if I go here to data and choose filter and say, let's do it based on region. And we're going to say, let's just show the people that are in the southeast and southwest. Now it filters out who is showing from that data set. Lorna and I are missing. If we go back, I can set this filter as a static filter or as a filter that leverages a parameter. So I could say, instead of it always showing the south, I want to adjust that based on maybe the player location. And so I'll keep south here as the default. And if I hit save changes, now it's going to still show me the south, but if I go to the app URL, we'll come back there. I should be able to add, here we go, a parameter saying region and then equals, and let's do north. And I'll see that the data should adjust based on those parameters that I put in, be it the preview or the published version. Connect has that power to pull in your custom data from wherever it exists, but also can present it in a way that you want it to look. And the last part and advantage of Connect is that it has this ability to change the design dynamically. So I have an example here, which is I want to promote for sunset yoga. And I don't necessarily want this to show if it's raining outside. So if I go to conditions here, I can set up a conditional statement based on an external data connection. In this case, this is a Screenfeed weather XML data that I've connected already, but I can go in and choose specifically the chance of precipitation. I'll use that selection. And I can say if it's less than 30%, then I'm going to say it's sunny. If it's not, what will happen is when the app is played back, it will evaluate based on this conditional statement. And if that is not true, let's say it's 40% chance of rain, I will see board game night, something inside and whatever the default is. You can stack these conditions. Right now it's just one, up to 5 or 6, where it will evaluate each in turn. So we could say based on time of day and weather, based on whatever your external data source is. So it could be based on overall sales goal, for example. There's a lot of power that could be attributed there, depending on how you want it to change. Now, this is applied not only to every element in this app, but you could just apply it to one piece of the app. So if I just wanted to change the text or the text color, I can apply those conditions. For my example, I'll just put in a shape and by default, it doesn't have those conditions applied. If I want to take that condition that I've already created, I'll just copy that condition set. And let's say we want this to be by default white. If I paste that condition in, now I can see that's available to me for that specific element. And if I go here, I can change that to a yellow color. And now that will follow conditional statement and those rules and change for me based on that playback. Once I'm done with my app, whether it's this lovely conditional app or it's my leaderboard, I can choose to publish. And once it's published, it'll be available in that list that Joe showed you previously, where you could put that app into a playlist or into a layout inside Signage Live.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much, Hunter. Is that everything? Anything else we need to cover from Connect?
There's a lot of design tooling that I could wax on about for hours. And I think it's really important to know that you can go a lot deeper when it comes to things like animation, Google Fonts and text, and uploading images that have transparencies and playing around with that. Beyond it being this automated data app creation tool, it does have a fully fledged design tool to it as well.
So this is the Q&A section. If there aren't any questions, that's absolutely fine. We did do a webinar earlier, which had quite a few questions. So I do want to kind of cover some of those. The first of which was, could we go a little bit more into the bundles specifically in terms of what they included? I don't know if Lauren, you may be able to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yep. So just as we mentioned, the exclusive bundles to Signage Live are the Everything Bundle and the Essentials Bundle. The Everything Bundle is going to include nearly all of our infotainment options. So that's going to be our most popular options, such as Reuters news, sports scores and standings, and lots of things within sports, specifically financial information, weather information, traffic information, which traffic maps is actually a Signage Live exclusive in any sort of bundle. We do not even offer it in any bundles from Screenfeed itself. So definitely give that a look. The Essentials Bundle is going to be great for getting started. It's going to have those most popular options only, such as news and weather, community events, which is one that we didn't touch on too much today, but with those localization features that we mentioned, you can input your city or your postal code or your latitude and longitude and get events happening within your area. And that's how a lot of our feeds will function, which is really exciting. In addition to those two, the social bundle includes popular platforms like LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, X/Twitter, Teams, right? So if you have any corporate profiles that you want to give additional exposure to, this is going to be a great way to do that. We have really easy ways to integrate those accounts that you use and show your posts or your different channels within your network. And then, of course, the last thing is Connect, which Hunter gave a fantastic demo of, and just touched on all of the possibilities available for creating content. Of course, the one thing that we didn't mention outside of these bundles is you can purchase any content option a la carte as well. So if you come and say, I would just like weather content, I would just like some news content to put in between my messages or something like that, that is absolutely an option. So I'll go over to our contact us page. We can, of course, cover any additional questions. I really encourage you guys to get in touch with either the Signage Live team or the sales or the Screenfeed team. We're happy to support you in terms of answering any questions or showing you any more demos like Tim mentioned. So the one other thing we can mention, we can also talk about custom project inquiries within Connect that the Signage Live and Screenfeed teams can solve upon inquiries. So we can save that for the end if you have anything else that you wanted to mention, Tim.
No, I think we've covered most of the Q&A, so we can jump straight into that. I think that's well worth covering.
Yeah. So you guys saw a demo of, and I'll let Hunter jump in after I give my little spiel here on what's available with any custom apps that you guys want to create. So if you have an idea in your mind, either on behalf of your clients, maybe a common request that you receive, if you're an integrator or a partner, or if you are a manager of your own network and you say, hey, I'd really love to do employee appreciation, or I'd really love to do this connection with my sales data or something like that. I've always had this in my mind, but I wasn't sure how to create it, or I didn't have the tools, or I don't have the time, which is super common. Please reach out to the Screenfeed team or the Signage Live team. We'd be happy to provide a quote on app setup for you. So we'll take care of all of the designing, we'll take care of all of the data integrations within Connect, and basically deliver you a feed that is ready to go and ready to be published. We're pretty speedy with our turnaround, and we're pretty responsive in terms of accommodating any designs or requests that you have. So I'll pause there and just say that is definitely available at any time if you guys have inquiries for Connect that you wanted to pursue, any ideas that you want to bring to life. So I'll pass it over to Hunter and see if he wants to elaborate on that.
Yeah, we showed off a few use cases that the Marlowe Theater is a great example. They had a REST API connection that we were able to help them with, pull it into Connect. They came with designs and we were able to make it happen in a dynamic way that leverages conditions and filters to show exactly what they wanted to show. And it takes a lot of additional work off of their designer's plate to have to recreate a template from over and over for different shows. It's all automated. And so that's really kind of the power and value of Connect, is the ability to pull in that external data, whatever it may be, and have it presented to save some time and save your personnel so that they can do something else. The other beauty of Connect, and whether it's us designing it or it's you designing it for a customer, is that the data source is often where whoever is making changes to it is comfortable editing that data source. So if we think about like a Google Sheet or a Excel worksheet or a calendar, people live in those various sources every day. They're familiar with it. And so it's really nice that we can connect to those various data sources, and in an automated way, those customers, whoever's editing that data, even if it's in a system, never have to touch the design part of it. They get something that has a lot of value and looks good and matches your corporate identity, but the source is controlled elsewhere where people are used to working every day. So as far as what we can do and our abilities, we're more than happy to take on any questions if there's a specific API or use case that you're dreaming up, but you're not quite sure how you can accomplish it. We're more than happy to look at it and see what we can do on your behalf if that's something that is interest of you.
Perfect.
So,
Well, I think that covers everything. Final thoughts, opinions, anybody? I think that's pretty much us wrapped up here.
Just one last thing, sorry to hop in. Wanted to
Go for
mention
it.
too that we absolutely accommodate trials. As Joe touched on, if you want to utilize the ScreenFeed integration, go ahead and reach out to either your Signage Live contact or someone you know at Signage Live. Tim and Joe will be great resources. Place an order, and if you don't want to place an order right away and you want to just try out what this integration looks like, we'll be happy to accommodate 30-day free trials for any of the bundles or individual content feeds. Please inquire about that. And we can't wait for you to try it out.
Fantastic. Well, thank you everybody for joining. I really appreciate that. Hopefully you come away with some more insightful insights into how ScreenFeed and Signage Live works. I'm super excited for this integration. I think it is something that is really going to build that content up to the next level and make your experience much easier. Thank you, ScreenFeed team. Thank you, Signage Live team, for attending today. So thank you very much again, and we will see you on the next one. Bye.